Let me introduce you to our next presenter for this afternoon. She has a Master of Arts in English, Language, and Literature teaching degree from Ateneo de Manila University and a Bachelor of Arts degree in Broadcast Communication Comparative Literature from the University of the Philippines, Visayas. Presently, she is Assistant Professor in the Division of Humanities of UP Visayas, where she teaches general education, literature, and creative writing courses. Her collection of creative nonfiction, Places, Faces, Faces, was published by Kasing Kasing Press in 2016. She edited Ang Kalye Nga Wala Sing Kamatyon, the Palangka Award-winning stories of Leoncio P. Deriada, published by the University of the Philippines Visayas Division of Humanities 2019 and the University of the Philippines Press 2022. Her short stories in Hiligay Nun have won in the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature and the Gawad Bienvenido Lumbera NCLA National Literary Contest. Her short story for children won the grand prize in the 2022 Philippine Board on Books for Young People Salanga Prize. She is the president of Hubon Manunulat, an organization of writers in Western Visayas which aims to promote, propagate, and preserve West Visayan literature. Everyone, let's give a round of applause to Miss Dr. Dulce Maria Deriada. A round of applause, please.
Thank you. I am not Dr. Dulce Maria Deriada. Kahapon pa kami na-promote ni Ma'am Joy. Mayong hapon sa tanan. I am happy to be back here in Cebu. The title of my paper is different from the one that's printed. This afternoon, I'm going to present a paper entitled Sustainable Living in the Life and Works of Leoncio P. Deriada. I would like to start my paper, or I would like to start by quoting excerpts from two of Leoncio P. Deriada's works. The first is from his short story, and the second is from his biographical novel. Next slide, please. Okay, this is from his short story, Manong Paeng. Our staying in the hills was for a simple reason. We wanted to plow and plant. The people in the plain preferred to fish and contented themselves with borrowing cavans of rice from Mr. Franco, the owner of most of Santiago. The rich man did not own the hills we tilled. Next slide. These are excerpts from Deriada's biographical novel, People on Claveria Street. After breakfast, we prepared to go to Ventura, my last stop. While Father Manoynaldo and Uncle Usting were arranging our things carefully on the cart, I took a good look at the place. The house was surrounded with pomelo trees, all with fruit. Some pomelos were big and some were small, like the pomelos in Oldo Rice Grove in Calao. There were a few kaimito or star apple trees, also with fruit, among the pomelo trees. Behind the house were three low hills covered with grass and a few trees. At the foot of one hill was a big durian tree with a lot of brown, spiny things hanging on its branches and trunk. The land was gently rolling. Across the road were more trees. There were coffee and cacao trees, two star apple trees with purple fruit, a couple of tambis trees, and a makupa tree. Below were abaca plants that looked like short and lean banana plants. There were many papaya trees that could only be wild. I liked Mr. Pasaporte's place very much. It was beautiful behind and in front. These excerpts give us a glimpse into the world where my father, Leoncio P. Deriada, grew up. In this case, Barotac Viejo in Iloilo and Davao, where the story and the novel respectively are set. They also offer us a picture as to why he was an advocate of sustainable living. My paper takes a look into sustainable living in the regions, particularly how a teacher and an award-winning writer from Western Visayas created a sustainable living environment for his family. Next slide, please. Specifically, it aims to answer the following. How did Deriada practice sustainable living? Where are the benefits of the sustainable living environment that Deriada created? How did Deriada's upbringing contribute to his inclination for sustainable living? And how was Deriada's inclination for sustainable living reflected in his works? Allow me to introduce Leoncio P. Deriada. No? Leoncio P is considered the father of contemporary West Visayan literature. Born on January 13, 1938 in San Antonio, Barotac Viejo in Iloilo, he was the son of a farmer and housewife and was the sixth of 7 children. He spent the early part of his childhood in the hills and farmlands of Santiago, Barotac Viejo, Iloilo. In 1948, after the war, his family migrated to Davao where he spent the rest of his childhood in an abacat plantation in Ventura, Calinan. My father wrote in English, Puristic Tagalog, Filipino, Hiligaynon, Kinaraya, and Cebuano. He authored 11 books and edited anthologies of West Visayan literature, and some of the awards he received are the Gawad CCP para sa Sining for literature, the Kampiyon ng Wika Award from the Komisyon sa Wikang Filipino, Tabuan Lifetime Award for Literature from the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, the National Book Award for the novel in English for People on Guerrero Street from the Manila Critics Circle, Metrobank Outstanding Teacher Award from the Metrobank Foundation, the Palanca Hall of Fame Award from the Palanca Foundation, and the Gawad Pambansang Alagad ni Balagtas from the Union ng mga Manunulat sa Pilipinas. Before his death on April 3, 2019, he served as panelist in writing workshops in Iloilo, and he was Professor Emeritus of UP Visayas. Next slide, please. So sustainable living and green spaces. Sustainable development is an idea that was conceived out of a growing awareness of an imminent ecological crisis. Next slide, please. It refers to development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Green spaces greatly contribute to sustainable development, and they are considered important infrastructures for sustainable societies. Significantly, home gardens play a role in the agriculture and food production systems of a number of developing countries as they help ease hunger and malnutrition in the midst of a global food crisis. They have been recorded as an important supplemental source contributing to food and nutritional security and livelihoods. I don't know if you have home gardens. Do you have gardens in your own homes? Yes. What do you grow in your own garden? Sibuyas, dahon, usa pa. Cactus. Luya, aloe vera, okay. So, unsa man yung home gardens? No, home gardens have been defined as non-built land portions close to the household. They refer to the cultivation of a small portion of land around the household or within walking distance from the family home, and can be described as a mixed cropping system that encompasses vegetables, fruits, plantation crops, spices, herbs, ornamental and medicinal plants, as well as livestock that can serve as a supplementary source of income. Now, sustainable living and Leoncio P. Deriada. When our family transferred from Dumaguete to Iloilo, I was born in Dumaguete, but we transferred in 1985 to Iloilo, and that is where, that is where I live now. When our family transferred residence from Dumaguete to Iloilo, we moved into a spacious lot in the Molo district. In our lot was a tall coconut tree behind the gate and a malunggay tree near the terrace. In the backyard was a blooming gaway tree. Apart from these trees, the lot was bare. In no time, my father started his vegetable patches. Back in Dumaguete, in the rather cramped space that we had, he had small patches of alugbate and kamote tops, which he planted near the clothesline at the back of our rented house in the Silliman University campus, because he used to teach at Silliman University, where we stayed for 10 years. It was sheer delight for my father when we transferred to a much bigger space in Iloilo, since it afforded him the luxury to plant a galaxy of gulay, quote unquote, to borrow a line from a Doreen Fernandez essay, where she writes about the joys of our landscape in the Philippines and how it offers vines, shrubs, fields, forests, and trees, which we are blessed all year round. Consequently, my father planted kamote tops, kangkong, and petchay in his garden in our new home. He also had an array of vine plants like alugbate, I don't know if you have this at home, squash, tomato, upo, and patola. Through the years, he was constantly adding to his garden like root crops, gabi, and kamote. He also had a tall, spiny calamansi plant that bore a lot of fruits and a colorful bush of kutitut, or hot chili, as well as clumps of lemongrass. In our backyard, he had bananas. Over the years, my father planted mango, star apple, cacao, and batuan, the Visayan souring ingredient. No? It's an ingredient in our KBL, our Ilonggo dish, Kadyos Babaw Langka. No? So he had this at home. Attached to our bungalow was a garage. Since we did not own a car, my father converted the garage to a chicken house when he started raising broiler chickens. We also had a couple of ducks. My mother sold the chickens while we consumed those that were not sold. The eggs of the broiler hens, as well as those of the ducks, were a common staple on our breakfast table. My father had a compost heap in the yard so nothing was put to waste. This was typical of him since he had a great disdain for waste and he liked recycling things. Whenever it rained, there were big containers outside the house that were ready to catch rainwater, which was used for washing dishes and laundry and cleaning the house. Rainwater was stored and used to water the garden. My father made use of whatever nature offered. The leaves of the coconut tree near our gate were made into balls, which I played with. He also made woven placemats out of this. Out of the coconut tree's leaves midrib, he made walis ting-ting. My father's recycling habit also extended to his profession and his writing. Since he was an English teacher, at the end of every semester, he would end up with piles of his students' composition notebooks. He would cut the unused pages of the notebooks and make new notebooks for me, which I use in school. In the many years that he was writing, he always used recycled paper for his drafts. He would cut old calendars into bond paper sizes and use the blank side for writing. He turned into writing pads the unused back pages of his students' report papers. Next slide, please. So why sustainable living? There's actually a substantial body of literature on the benefits of sustainable living, which ranges from economy to health to environment. Yes. Next slide. Galena, Fried, and Maridia cite 3 benefits of home gardens. So there's social, economic, environmental, social, enhancing food and nutritional security, improving health, uplifting the status of women, preserving indigenous knowledge, and building integrated societies for economic, contributing to income generation, improving livelihoods and promoting entrepreneurship and rural development, and for environmental, it serves as the primary unit that makes use of ecologically friendly approaches for food production while conserving biodiversity and natural resources, providing a number of ecosystem services as well as nutrient cycling. The sustainable living environment that my father created at home provided the 3 general benefits cited. Most of the vegetables and fruits we ate back then were taken from the garden, which gave us an assurance that they were chemical-free. We had eggs courtesy of our chicken and ducks. What we needed were sourced just outside our home. One of my fondest memories of my father is of him harvesting the fruits of his cacao tree and then going through the whole process of making chocolate, from drying to roasting to grinding the cacao seeds. In many afternoons, the chocolate drink would be part of his pamahaw or painit, which I learned from yesterday's session, no? Together with boiled kamote, which he dug in the yard, or fried bananas, which he got from the bunch of bananas he harvested in the backyard. Almost 40 years after we relocated to Iloilo and 4 years after my father's passing, my small household continues to enjoy the sustainable living environment my father had created. Except for the mango tree that was uprooted when Typhoon Yolanda hit the Visayas in 2013, the trees are still around and they continue to bear fruits. We have an all-year-round supply of batuan, which is quite expensive when bought in the market or in the supermarket. No, we continue to pick calamansi from our front yard. Twice or thrice a year, the offshoots of the saba that my father planted many years ago continue to bear fruits and surprise us with big bananas, which we consume at home as well as share with friends. I wake up in the morning to the rustling of leaves and the sound of birds chirping outside the windows. The chirping continues throughout the day as the birds hop from plant to plant, tree to tree. The air that I breathe is fresh and clean, and our house remains cool even during summer. Next slide. The writer is a farmer. Pulitzer Prize winning author Barbara Kingsolver, in her book Animal, Vegetable, Miracle, A Year of Food Life, asks, what is it about gardening that is so addicting? Who's into gardening here? Something for you to think about, no? What is it about gardening that is so addicting? After she strikingly describes a farmer emotion, next slide, please. You have there a very beautiful description, striking description of a farmer, quote unquote, in motion. We love our gardens so much it hurts. For their sake, we'll bend over till our backs ache, yanking out fistfuls of quack grass by the roots as if we are tearing out the hair of the world. We lead our favorite hoe like a dance partner down one long row and up to the next in a dance marathon that leaves us exhausted. We scrutinize the yellow beetles with black polka dots that have suddenly appeared like chicken pox on the bean leaves. We spend hours bent to our crops as if enslaved, only now and then straightening our backs and wiping a hand across our sweaty brow, leaving it striped with mud like some child's war paint. Very beautiful. Consequently, she knows that this desire for gardening is probably mixed up with our DNA, as agriculture is the oldest, most continuous livelihood that humans have engaged. Next slide, please. She adds that many who are not farmers or gardeners still have some form of farm nostalgia. Farm nostalgia, in the family past, real or imagined. A secret longing for some connection to a life where a rooster crows in the yard. Perhaps some of you can relate to this. Meanwhile, Doreen Fernandez opines that the Filipinos' appreciation for the bounty of the sea and land quite clearly grows out of his peasant closeness to the land. Kingsolver's and Fernandez's views on the lure of farming, of returning to land, of going back to tradition explain Leoncio P. Deriada's inclination for sustainable living. I'm out of time already, but I'm supposed to how this sustainable living is reflected in a couple of his works, no? But anyway, let me just end with this one. Leoncio leaves the slide. So the call of going back to land, of returning to tradition, is even more pressing now in the midst of climate change and the soaring prices of food. Moreover, as the global population is predicted to increase to 9 billion by 2050, sustained increase in food production is needed. This is according to Galhina, no? Inarguably, now is the best time for us to heed the call of going back to land, of returning to tradition. Leoncio P. Deriada is an example that one doesn't have to be a farmer or a gardener to create a sustainable living environment at home, particularly by planting trees and growing fruits and vegetables in one's yard. Indeed, the benefits are lifelong. My father may be gone, but like his literary works, he continues to live in the trees in our yard, whose fruits we enjoy and nourish us. He is alive in the rustling of the leaves, in the chirping of the trees, and in the air that we breathe at home. The last two slides are photos of the fruits that we have, no, that are produced at home. So the saba, and then the cacao, and then the kutitot, and that's my helper getting batuan from the tree. Okay, thank you.